So this is a really good book that if you haven't read yet, you should definitely read. Robert Cialdini, who wrote the famous book Influence, wrote another one a year or two ago called Pre-Suasion. And he talks about these privileged moments that are identifiable points in time when a person is particularly receptive to your message. And I put a note here that the time when you have a privileged moment to do that is not when you're selling to a person, because they're not open at that point. They know you're selling to them. If you've ever heard of Dean Jackson and Joe Polish's Whiskers and Cheese podcast, if you haven't seen it or listened to it, you should definitely go listen to it. It's the concept really boils down to, a cat puts a piece of cheese by the mouse hole and stands over the mouse hole waiting for the mouse to come out so he can pounce on it. Well, the mouse comes up to the edge of the hole, looks out, sees the cat's whiskers, and realizes that the cat's just trying to eat him, So the cat's out for himself. He's putting that big piece of cheese there, but he really wants something for himself. And that's what people chasing demand are doing. They're trying to put out a big piece of cheese and they're ready to pounce on it, and people know that. And so your privileged moment comes at a time when you're truly trying to help somebody by showing them some value innovation that you've come up with that will truly help them get to the desired result that they want. And so the problem is that the end choice is often not one that provides the most accurate or useful help. Their choices are typically irrational, and they've been made by being elevated in their attention during that privileged moment of decision. So what we want to do is tap into that privileged moment to move their beliefs. And that's all we're trying to do, move their beliefs to a new way of thinking that will allow them to get the desired result by investing with you, because your solution is valuable and it's innovative and it's been proven to work. All right. The problem is that in this internet marketing world, we've kind of dubbed the persuasion factor as being indoctrination. And then we've taken indoctrination and tried to make basically a short-term tactic with it. And the way that we've done that is by, typically we use scarcity tactics and, the bonus is going away and this won't be offered for very long. And we put countdown timers on things. Sometimes that's true, but we've overused it to the point where it's like, oh yeah, here's another countdown timer. I know it's going to count down, and then 2 days later, they're going to be promoting the same thing to me. So we've become immune to that. Not only have we become immune to it, and it's created this banner blindness kind of effect where our brains filter that stuff out as unimportant, and so we're not going to pay attention to it. But it's also created a marketplace where people are even more jaded than they already were. They're just distrustful when they see that kind of thing. So indoctrination done the right way, persuasion style, is kind of like, if you studied some of the Roman Stoics, like Aristotle, for instance, they would deal with persuasion in a different way. And there's 3 kind of factors. There's a lot more to it than this, but basically it was ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos kind of related to their character, which is anchored in a set of beliefs, could be, the same or different than yours. And that character would be represented as somebody that's trustworthy through examples. And pathos deals with the empathy factor. And so I always talk about this thing that I've taught before in the past about the empathy exercise, where you go through a process where you literally, it's kind of like character development for an actor, where they become the person that they're trying to portray in the scene. And so they do that by actually stepping into that person and living the way that they would live. And I have this whole process that we go through where you literally live kind of like what your prospect would be living, feeling the emotions, feeling the fears, going and buying maybe some of your competitors' products so you can feel how they are feeling and what they must be going through. That's going to build empathy that allows you to pull that empathy right into your videos and your copy and your ads and your marketing and everything you do. And then logos is after empathy, which is really more tied to emotion. Logos is the logical argument, which is, you've got to give the details now. Once you've opened up their filtering mechanism of their brain, you've got to be able to give them the details now to back up what you're saying and bring them to that new belief. Like, you've got to have a logical argument, just like, a defense attorney would do.